summons had come in the early evening, inviting him to a secret meeting. He had gone at once, hoping it might win him a little more time. It had not, for which he was heartily sorry. Another day would have seen evidence of all his misdeeds eliminated, and he could have died safe in the knowledge that Edith would never learn what he had kept from her for so many years. If he had known then that he would not see another dawn, he would have hurried home and spent his last few hours finishing the task he had started. Instead, he had attended a gathering of the Guild of Saints. The Guild was a charitable organisation that he himself had founded as a sop to his nagging conscience. He had encouraged other rich citizens to join too, and was proud of the good work they had done. He had gone that night to reassure himself that it was strong enough to continue after his death. After all, it might count in his favour when his soul was weighed. He had started to feel unwell during a discussion about the Widows' Fund, but he had paid the signs no heed. However, when he had stood up at the end of the meeting, he had known that something was badly amiss. He had hurried home and succeeded in burning a few more documents before pain and weakness drove him to his bed, at which point Edith had sent for Ruffin. Stanmore glanced at the medicus, who was haughtily informing Edith that the only remedy for marsh fever was snail juice and cloves. How the man could have made such a wildly inaccurate diagnosis was beyond Stanmore. Matt would certainly have seen the truth. But there was no point saying anything. It was not important. In fact, perhaps it was even better this way.
I have changed my will, Edith.
Stanmore felt as though he was speaking underwater, every word an effort.
You will inherit this house, the manor in Trumpington, and the business. Richard will have everything else. He will be pleased. He has never been interested in cloth, and this leaves him rich without the bother of overseeing warehouses.
Edith blinked. You are not going to die. You will feel better in the morning. He did not try to argue.
Richard is not the son I hoped he would be. He is selfish and decadent, and I dislike his dissipated friends. Do not turn to him for help when I am gone. Zachary Stewart knows the business and can be trusted absolutely. Matt will support you with everything else. He is a good man.
A good man who would be guilt-stricken for being away when he was needed, thought Stanmore sadly. It was a pity. He would have spared him that if he could. "Stop, Oswald!" cried Edith, distressed. "This is gloomy talk." He managed to grab her hand, but darkness was clawing at the edges of his vision, and he sensed he did not have many moments left. He gazed lovingly at her, then slowly closed his eyes. He did not open them again. Mid-September 1358. Few foundations had ever been as unpopular as Winwick Hall. The University at Cambridge, a body of ponderous, exacting men, liked to take its time over important decisions, and was dismayed by the speed with which the new college had sprung into existence. One moment it had been a casual suggestion by a wealthy courtier, and the next it was a reality, with buildings flying up and fellows appointed. Now it was to receive its charter, the document in which the king formally acknowledged its existence, which would be presented at a grand ceremony in St. Mary the Great. John Winwick, keeper of the Privy Seal, smiled his satisfaction as the university's senior scholars began to gather outside the church, ready to process inside and begin the rite. Winwick Hall was his college, named after him. He had bought land on the high street. He had hired masons to raise a magnificent